right, so we're here for today's tour. I'm going to give you an overview of Photoshop and all of the different basic layout, the desktop that you need to know about. That's going to help you be successful with the first couple of lessons, okay? So once we get to a stage where we can open up Photoshop, can you guys see my Photoshop on a screen? There it goes. Okay, it's just taking a little bit for you guys. When you open up Photoshop and once you start getting into this, you're going to see that it's going to open up a couple different ways for you to find some images. It's going to show your recent ones that are here. Well, your first couple times you guys won't have worked with anything, so you won't see anything show up right away, so don't worry about that. Also, I'm noticing there's a little lag on your computers, like those of you guys who are in class with me. Just be patient. There's a little disconnect. I'll just be patient as I go through. All right. When we go through the videos, I'm going to show you how and where to open up files the very first time. But I'm just going to actually get into Photoshop. So I'm just going to open up a random. I'm just opening up a random picture. So we can actually get into the Photoshop program. This is your desktop. This is the interface of the program. So you'll notice you have up at the top, you have a File menu bar. Underneath that, you have something called the Options panel. From there, you have a toolbox. You have your image window. And then you have over on the right-hand side, you have these things called panels. In your menu bar up at the top, that's where you're going to have your most basic commands. It's where you're going to go to anytime you kind of sort of get lost. You're going to go up to that menu bar. That's where a lot of the options are going to be located. Okay? So when I say menu bar, just know that I'm talking about the row at the very tippy top. So you have things like your basic file management, like how to open and close, how to save. We'll even getting into some exporting of files. Under your edit, that's when we're going to get into like some preferences for the program. Image relates to the size and color and all of those things. So you'll learn all of these things in upcoming video lessons. Your options bar changes for every single tool that you use. So if I click on the Move tool, it's going to change options for the Move tool. If I click on the Paintbrush tool, it's going to click and change options on the Paintbrush tool. You'll also notice that up in your File menu, because I skipped this, I'm going to go back. If you highlight, it's going to give you keyboard shortcuts, and those are over to the right. A lot of students like to use keyboard shortcuts instead of actually moving and clicking and dragging and doing all of those things. Not everything has a keyboard shortcut, so you'll see some things don't, but a lot of things do. It's up to you if you want to use them or not. All right? Just like the commands up at the top, the tools also have keyboard shortcuts. If you hover over a tool, it's going to pop up. It's going to tell you the name of the tool. And in parentheses, it's going to give you your keyboard shortcut. So you can see for the Move tool, it's V. It's also giving you a little demo here in the window. It's showing you what that tool does. And if you're bored one day and you're like, oh, I want to know a little bit more, there's actually some hot links in here that will send you to tutorials or the help desk in Photoshop. Okay? So those are your tools. There's also drawers. If you have a tool that has a little white arrow in the corner, it means there's actually more tools there underneath. So if you click and hold, a drawer is going to pop out, and you can grab one of those tools. You can take this whole drawer. Oh, it's not letting me pull it out. Let me see here. Oh, I'm going to skip that because it's not letting me do it today. That's okay. Your toolbar or your toolbox, you can view it two ways. You can have a double-sided column, or if you click this little button in the left, you can do it as a single column. So that's all that does. I like it double. Some people like it single. That's just a preference thing. So that's what that does. Okay? Each of the tools are kind of grouped as related. So all of your basic transforming and moving tools are going to be up here. Then the next section down is going to be your painting and editing tools. and then the bottom is going to be like your vector tool. So they do kind of group them together, and it will make more sense as you go. Each lesson, you're going to kind of learn a different tool and some different options with each tool. All right. Panels on the right-hand side are kind of like complex tasks that you can use, or there are different ways and techniques to use those tools. Think of them like folders. So if this is my desktop, it's kind of like I have my artwork sitting here. I've got my little box of tools here. These are folders with information and content. I can open them, close them, and move them around. If I click on that tab, I can move that out. I can actually make it bigger. I can resize my panel by grabbing on the sides or in the corner. I can put it back. I'm like, I don't want that folder open anymore. I want to put it back over here. I can do that. I can completely dock these, so I'm like put them all kind of away. So it's kind of like closing the folders. This is opening the folders. That's called docking and undocking. You'll see they have names out. Don't worry about being intimidated right now. This will all get way easier. If I click and pull one out, I can completely put it away. So now it's gone. So like for instance, the gradient panel. Close it. It's gone. It's not even out here. I can't even dock it or undock it. This is not all of the panels. There's lots of panels. In fact, all of your panels are up under window. These are all of your panels. Notice the ones with the check marks? Those are the ones that are out on my desk right now. Think of this, if these are folders, think of this like a file cabinet. These are where all your panels are put away. So if I wanted to open up that gradients again, I click on it. There it is. I can fold it up and put it to the side of my desk. You can do this however you want. And a lot of people, once you start getting used to things, and you know there's like certain panels you use a lot, you can even save your desktop to your own liking. If you've made a mess of things, I can't find anything. It's just, everything is just chaos. I even can move my toolbox out. I can move my picture window down. If you want to put everything back the way it should go, in the top right-hand corner, you can click on this tab and go to Reset Essentials. Bam, it puts everything back the way it's supposed to go. Don't worry, I'm not expecting you to memorize all this. Again, this is just a basic tour. The first few videos will help you start to understand this a little bit more, okay? Another keyboard shortcut that's kind of nice, if I'm working with my image, and let's say I've got all of these panels out, okay, let's just say I'm making a mess, I'm a sloppy designer, I've got all this stuff out, and I kind of sort of want to see it without all this clutter. So I got a lot of clutter right now. If I hit the tab key, it's going to clear everything for just a minute. If I hit tab again, it's going to bring it all back. And then if like, oh, I'm too lazy to dock all of these again, just reset your essentials. I really wish I had buttons like this for my house. I could just click and everything would go back. Wouldn't that be great? All right, opening and saving files. This is, let me see, check my time. How are we doing? 23, perfect. Okay. I'm going to close this. I'm actually going to go back to my home screen. All right, so when we start going through and opening files and saving files, you have to know that you have a network file system. So think of it like it's in this building. Physically, these files are in the building. So if I say the file is on the network, that means the building. Where you guys will be saving all of your works is in the cloud. You open all of your files from the network, but you're going to save all of them in the cloud. So when you start a lesson, you're starting from the network. Once you initially get it open, then you're going to save it to your cloud. So I'm going to show you how this works. So we're going to start lesson 1 tomorrow, if we can. You'll go to File Open. If it's the very first time, you're always going to go to File Open. And hopefully you should have over here, this is our network system. Think of it like highways. You got to find the courses highway. If it's not here, so let me click. You may have to go back to the home screen and you should see it here. If you struggle the first few days, just call me over. I'll help you find it. But you got to find the courses highway. Hopefully it's on the left-hand side, but if not, just click this PC or my computer You're going to double click on courses. And again, the video takes you through this, so don't worry. Art, computer graphic lessons, Photoshop lessons, lesson 1. So we're going to do this in the first lesson. So you'll be opening. This is the first file you're going to work with tomorrow, and you're going to need headphones. The video is going to show you how to save. It's going to remind you. You're going to go to File, and the very first time that you save a file from my network, so it's my image, you're going to go to File, Save As, and you're going to get this prompt. It's going to ask you, do you want to save it to the cloud or on your computer? Cameron, what do you think? Are you going to save it to the cloud or to the computer?
The cloud.
Yeah, you're going to save it to the cloud. I will tell you in the video where I want it saved at. Tomorrow, before we all start, I'm going to help you set up your folder system, because right now you don't have a folder system. You'll have 3 folders that you create for me, and I'll walk you through it tomorrow before you start the video. You'll have a lessons folder, a my photos, and my projects. Okay? You're going to save all of your video lessons in the lessons. Again, the video will tell you to go through it. It'll give you a name. I'm just going to call it name, example. And then you're going to click save. Then when you come back tomorrow, let's say you don't get finished with the lesson, but you started it, you're going to go to File, Open, but you're not going to save, you're not going to go back to that My Computer, you're going to find where you were working on it. It should be in your cloud documents. If you can't find it, let me know, but you want to make sure you're opening the one that you saved in the cloud, not reopening mine. Because the nice thing about the cloud documents, and this is new for me, is when you make changes, it automatically saves in your cloud like a Google Doc. So if I make any changes to this thing, so if I paint, do weird things to it or whatever, if I close this, it's going to save those changes. So you don't want to close if there's anything you don't want to be saved in there. And the first couple of days, call me over, I'll help you. Once I save, see how it said it's saving? Now there it is, it's saved. I can't go back in time once I've saved it. Those changes have been saved like a Google Doc. If you close a Google Doc, all of those changes save in there. How are we doing? Any questions so far? All right, let me reopen a file. Let's make sure we're getting there. Okay. We're going to talk later about how you actually share the files. We'll do that once you guys are done with your first lessons, because you will have to share these with me. I may or may not. I have to get in your folders to see. I may be able to have access without you sharing, because this is set up as a student-teacher thing, but I will let you know. So that's why I'm not going over that now. All right? The last thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you navigating and viewing image files. So again, if we're opening up an image, and I actually want to click on my computer. So if you're trying to get to my images, if you're restarting and it comes up to this, click on your computer. That's that network. So I want to show you viewing. So let's open food. There's going to be a lot of times when I say, hey, go into our digital image archive, which is just a fancy word for my folder with lots of photos. If I say, you can work with any picture you want. Well, how do I know what these things look like? Does anyone know how to change the viewing on this so I can actually see what these things look like? Does anybody know how to do that? Ooh, I'm already teaching you guys new stuff. Up in the right-hand corner where it says More Options, this is where you can click on thumbnails. You can either make them extra large, large, or medium. I usually like large or extra large so you can actually see what these things look like. Now these files have little thumbnails. I know what they actually look like. All right, so that's how you change that viewing mode. If it's a Photoshop file, though, I know, guys, this is kind of boring today, but just hang with me. Oops, courses, art. Notice I'm in that thumbnail view. You're like, sure, I don't know what you can't. That's just a limitation of that file navigation, the viewing system. If it's a Photoshop file, it won't show you because it has something called layers that you'll learn about later. Okay? But if you are looking at pictures, remember, change that viewing option. So there's our pictures. Okay? opening up multiple files. That's the last thing we're going to go over today, and then if we have time, I'll kind of sort of let you guys play a little bit. We can't get much further because we got to wait till everybody can get in. So opening up multiple files. Let's say I wanted to open up all three of these files. This file, this file, this file. Does anybody know what key I have to hold down to select all of these files? Good guess, but not correct. Shift. So if I click on my first one and I hold down Shift key, it's going to select everything from the first to the last. But let's say I don't actually want that middle ant. I only want this one and this one. That's the Control key. So I'd click here, I'd hold down Control, and I'd click Open. That's actually going to be really important because you guys are going to be opening multiple files at one time. When you open up multiple files, it's going to be like, well, I open up two. Why can't I see both? They're both there. They're just stacked on top of each other. So see the tab that's up here? There's your file name. That's called ant. This one's called 201 blah, 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 blah. To see both of them at the same time, I just click and pull that tab down. And just like my panels, I can resize these things so I can fit them next to each other. Okay? Your first video that you're going to start tomorrow with your headphones is it's going to take you through how to open. You're going to practice opening, you're going to practice saving, and you're going to start to learn just a couple of very simple tools. It's going to take you through that. I'm going to give you a note sheet tomorrow. It's going to be your option as to whether or not you take notes. I'm going to strongly suggest that you do. If you have a hard time getting started tomorrow, this that I'm recording right now, it will be also on my YouTube channel. You have that option of rewatching it before you even start the next lesson. You will have several days to get through the first few lessons, and I'll show you where all of those are tomorrow. Okay? Does anybody have any questions for me today? All right. Otherwise, that's all we can do for today because we're waiting for some of you guys to get logins. If you can get logged in and you want to open up Photoshop and just kind of play, you can go for it. All right.